And children, welcome along to the inaugural Health and Wellness Expo here in Birkenhead Village. The fun part about this is that we had no idea until recently that over 100 years ago, Birkenhead was actually named from Auckland City as the health and wellness area of the borough of Auckland. So people used to come along over the ferry, come here, get themselves sorted, and then go back to their lives back in Auckland City. So here we are, well over 100 years later, really promoting the fact that there are well over 60 practitioners here of health and wellness in Birkenhead. So it's not just about the barbers, the cafes and the bars. So there we go. Today we've got a big lineup of incredible speakers who are very well respected in the industry, and I'm certainly going to be popping into a lot of the sessions today, and certainly around the village you'll see a lot of other activations happening as well. The kids will be very impressed that Bluey and Co are going to be here a bit later on, so that'll be a good respite for them while the parents are listening to some really incredible speakers. And we've got our first one today, our first speaker, Professor Ajmol, who is very much a wellness coach. So having had a wellness coach many, many years ago, it's very, very important in your life to have someone to say, hey, you're not stupid. And these are the things that are really important in the health and wellness sector, is that you've got to have people talking to you, people touching you, and people making you feel better. And so without further ado, I introduce you to Ajmol.
Thank you. And thank you for coming along. Can you hear me at the back okay? Yep, great, thank you very much. So it's lovely to see some familiar faces here. Amazing everything that has been done here, and I know Kay's not here, but if you can hear us, Kay, I'd like you all to give a round of applause for Kay for organising this session. Thank you, Kay. Thank you very much, awesome work. So my name's Ajmol is my formal name, but Aj is like a badge, short, without the B, of course. So that's me. Can anyone guess where I was born, first off? Any ideas? No, you don't know. Any ideas? From my accent, where do you reckon I was born? Surrey. That's a good guess. Any others? Sri Lanka. Better guess. Anyone else? Go on then, Louise. Bangladesh, that's right. So this is not how people from Bangladesh speak. But I was born in Bangladesh. I was born in a little village in the middle of a floodplain in a tin hut, basically. I was born on a mud floor in a tin hut. And you could say, well, that was my life. That was my lot in life. But no, that's not how I was. And that's been the theme of my life on many, many different ways. There's a ceiling. How can I raise myself from there? So from 5 years old, my mum, my sister and I, we went to the UK, not quite Surrey, but the other side of London, in the Hertfordshire and Bedfordshire. And I landed up in the first day of school in a place called Royston. Some of you may know Royston near Cambridge. And a bit strange. I was the only non-white child in the whole school, possibly the schooling system in Royston. So imagine how daunting that is for an individual 5-year-old kid. My son here is 9, but 5-year-old and going into school. And that first day was very challenging for me because I cried. Crying home from school, and my dad said, "Why are you crying, son?" And I went, "They kept calling me names, Dad. They don't like me." And he said, "What did they say?" "Well, they kept calling me mate." I don't know what that meant. Kept calling me mate. I thought they were swearing at me. But it was a journey from there on my education journey. And it was interesting. You'd think my parents would be very supportive of my education, but it wasn't quite the case. Because my dad, for those of you who know, in the UK, Indian restaurants, 90% of them are run by Bangladeshi people. And so that was the industry my dad wanted me to go into. And I didn't really want to do that. Although I did work for a while, I didn't want to do that. So any of you who have teenage kids, what do teenage kids do? Rebel, yes, excellent. So I rebelled by going to school. I rebelled by doing my homework. I rebelled by forging my dad's signature so I could go to college. Then I signed myself to university. So different form of rebellion, I guess. But that's been a bit of a rebellious nature for me. As Stu over there will know, some of the football stuff that I've done and tried to break down barriers and so on, I'm a bit of a rebellious character. I'm trying to bring that into the work that I do. And so I say my dad was not really wanting me to go to school and whatever. He was the proudest man at the whole university, holding out my degree certificate when I passed and graduated and all the rest of it. So in my PhD, the first thing that opens up, it says, this is dedicated to my mum and dad, who in their own way made it all possible, because they did. They challenged me in different ways, which you might not realize. And some of you as parents, as grandparents, you can challenge your children in lots of different ways that you don't even realize. And sometimes we have to take stock of that. So after university, I thought I wanted to travel. I wanted to travel the world. And where better to start from the top of the world, if you like, to come to the antipodes, to come all the way down to the bottom, to come start my life in New Zealand. So this is me, Fox Glacier, but literally that's how I came to New Zealand, with a backpack. Not quite the staff, they wouldn't let me on the plane with that, but we came on, it was an adventure. I didn't know a single person in the Southern Hemisphere. It was a big leap of faith I needed to take. And that's something I've always done. I've encouraged my children, I've encouraged my colleagues, my students to take a leap of faith, to make mistakes, to take that chance. Because if you don't, you're never going to get through whatever challenges you may be facing. So what do I do now? I'm a professor at Massey University, and I have the pleasure, for those of you who might have seen graduation next week, so I get to call out the names of the students. It gives me immense pleasure to do that, to call out the names of the students as they go on their own journey after graduating. And that's what I do. I've got three main research areas. One of them is in supplementation type research, so I do work on reducing the risk of heart disease, cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, dementia-related aspects, other things from injury. I also do research on health performance and sports performance and so on. So it's about how can we use supplementation to help people on their own wellness journeys and their performance journeys. Another area of research I do is on exercise for children. So I'm leading a government project. It's about $60–70 million worth of a project that is involved in 900 schools around the country, looking at enhancing well-being in children. So primary school age children, this healthy active learning program, for those of you in Beachhaven School, if anyone knows, they're part of that initiative. So I'm leading that. I've worked with Best Start, who are the largest provider of early childhood education services in the country as well. So a lot of work in kids, especially as I had kids, I started working in that space as well. I also do a lot of research in wellness for work, wellness for living your best life. And I worked with Southern Cross for many years on that aspect as well. So ultimately, all my research comes down to one thing. How can we promote wellness to prevent illness? And that's what I'll be talking about today. What can you do to help yourselves in that path? So I've got a little video, because apparently right now I'm the face of the university. Can you press play?
A great idea should always have a need, a purpose. So I tell my students to fall in love with the problem, not the solution. And then we build a research project around that to solve the problem.
So that's what I do. My aim, my passion is to enhance New Zealand's well-being. And how can we do that? Well, little old New Zealand, and then how can we take it to the rest of the world? So I'm the international director for the college as well, so I've got links all over the world, and I get colleagues from different parts of the world to come here, and then I set up satellites for projects over there, because that's what this is all about. How can we promote wellness to prevent illness? Quiz question for you. We've just had the budget. About $30 billion in our Ministry of Health. We recorded, so I'll say health. How much percentage-wise do you reckon goes towards promotion and health? And how much to ill health aspects? What is it for health? What do you reckon? Any ideas? 3%? Good guess. Anyone else? Anyone else? 0.5%. In between. Excellent. 1.5% of $30 billion goes towards health promotion. The rest, you're at the bottom of the cliff already. How can we help you come up? So that's part of my mission as well, to enhance New Zealand's well-being, to eke into that 1.5% so that we can really take control and empower people to, to live well lives, to live their best, highest performing lives, whatever they do. So I'll be briefly talking to you today about some knowledge, giving you a bit of knowledge about well-being and wellness. We'll talk about some of the challenges to wellness, and I'll share some personal stories along there, and then some strategies to manage wellness, hopefully some fun activities that you can do. And my son, Oscar here, will give you some things to do to help you along that journey. The other thing I'd like to say is I'd like to offer is Kay here? Or I'd like to offer the business I run, Imago Wellness Coaching. I'd like to offer a bundle to people. So if you have a business card, if you write your name and an email address, we'll draw the prize at the end. So I was hoping Kay here. Yeah, if you go and find her, if we can just find something that you can write your name and an email address on with a bowl. I forgot to sort this out earlier. Anyway, Oscar, my trusted helper, and Kay will get this out. We'll just pass that around during the session. Okay, sorry. I was wondering if you could just have a little bowl of something, and then we can just with a few pens, and then people can write their name and email address on. Amazing. Just pass that around. Thank you. Very good. Okay. Let's start with some problems. Let's start with some facts. I'm a scientist. We'll put some facts together. So one of my colleagues, Jared High, is always on breakfast radio or on the news. You probably see him in the news on breakfast shows and so on. He's New Zealand's leading researcher on workplace challenges, workplace health, if you like. And he does a survey of about 1,000 Kiwis every 6 months to try and find out what some of the challenges are that people are facing in the workplace. And here's some damning statistics here. 1 out of every 2 people experience loneliness at work. Loneliness reduces your productivity. If you feel alone, you're not going to be very productive. 90% experience bullying in the previous 6 months. If you feel bullied, you don't want to go to work. Your engagement will go down. You're not going to feel like a good, productive person. 57% experience burnout. And as you can see from the figure here, more and more people are experiencing burnout. Larger percentage of each workplace experiencing burnout. Now, the Employment Hero report suggests that Kiwis are 50% more likely to stay with their employer if they feel their employer is looking after their well-being. And I see my friend and my colleague over there, Stu Weir, I've seen some great things that they're doing at Kempsware Lawyers about enhancing well-being in their staff. If your employer is looking after you, you're more likely to stay, even though someone may be offering you more money. So that's an important thing to consider here. If someone is looking after your well-being, you're more likely to stay there. So looking at business owners and others, what can you do to help with that process? Now, what is well-being and wellness? As I said, the knowledge aspect, the best definition I've come across of well-being is this. We have a number of resources for us. We have our spiritual, emotional, psychological, social, financial sort of resources, and then we have the challenges. Psychological, emotional, physical, all the rest of it. If the challenges can be met by the resources that you have, you're in a good state of well-being. If not, you're in a bad state of well-being. Okay? So it's about this balance. And if we can it's a dynamic process, well-being. If we can balance the resources and the challenges, we're in a good state of well-being. So you can ask yourself, am I managing my well-being? Am I challenged financially? Can I cope? Am I challenged emotionally? Can I cope? And that's the well-being. Wellness, on the other hand, it relates to the 4 key pillars of wellness or well-being, and the 4 key pillars at our College of Health at Massey University, where we ultimately want you to eat well, move well, sleep well, and think well. If you can do that, they're your own superpowers. You can do that. You sleep well, you're eating well, you're moving well, you're thinking well, you can do anything. The kids around the room, if you can do that, you can do anything. Because if your superpowers aren't there, you will not be able to carry on those activities. So what can we do to make the simple things in life? Eat well, move well, sleep well, and think well. That's what it's all about, okay? Now, show of hands, who's got mental health? Who's got mental health? Great, good. Most people put their hand up. Everyone's got mental health. When we talk about mental health, we already start thinking about the issues, about mental health issues and so on. Everyone's got mental health. The challenge for us is to understand what some of these words mean. So on this sort of east to west spectrum here, you've got mental illness, it's about 205 in the DSM manual, or you don't have a mental illness. That's what most people think about, unfortunately. But you can scrap that for now. We're looking at this model here. A lot of the work I do is about this, the flourishing, languishing model. If you're languishing, you don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to go to work. You don't even want to go and see your friends. You're not feeling in a good spot. Flourishing, you get up, feel great in the morning, you're looking forward to going to work. You look forward to going to work on a Friday afternoon for Monday. Okay? Not everyone does that. Can anyone guess as to how many people, the research from the US, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, what the percentage of people who are flourishing? Any ideas? 10%? Any other ideas? Yeah, 8%, bit more. It's about 20%. 20% to 20 to 25% are flourishing. Okay? Most people are sort of in here and languishing towards it. The challenge is then if you go from flourishing down this way, you're more likely to get mental illness. More likely to get mental illness. So a lot of our research is about how we can get people from here up towards flourishing. Now you can have a mental illness and be flourishing. You can have no mental illness and be languishing. So they are different constructs. Okay? The head of the Mental Health Foundation of New Zealand, he has a debilitating mental illness, but he's flourishing. He's on a high. He's doing really well for himself. So bear that in mind. We all have mental health. And I said I'm from Bangladesh. There's the great Royal Bengal tiger over here. I'm using this as an analogy. And many people, when they think about mental health issues, they think about anxiety and depression and so on. So I'm using this as an analogy here. So imagine a tiger. We've got the Royal Bengal tiger somewhere in the bushes here, and we've got an antelope or a deer eating the grass. Now that animal, perfectly fine eating grass, it hears some rustling in the bushes, in the jungle, runs away. What does it do afterwards? Goes back to eating grass. What do we do when we're anxious? No, we don't, Louise, no. So what happens when we have anxiety issues? Imagine like that deer where it just goes back and carries on. It doesn't. We don't. If we're anxious, we're hearing that rustle in the jungle all the time. And that will never go away, whether you're trying to sleep, whether you're trying to eat, whether you're trying to think. Okay? That can be a real big issue. So you might have heard of the term fight or flight. The body has this huge influx of adrenaline rush. Your eyes open up, you get more energy into your body, you increase your oxygen levels and so on. And what that does is ready to either fight or flight, get away. But you might not have heard of the term rest and digest. Rest and digest is when the antelope is going back and eating its grass again. It's the time when cognition happens. It's the time when repair happens. It's the time when you feel like you're belonging again. Okay? That's what we have to try and figure out. What causes our anxiety issues? What causes our challenges? And then can we bring that back down in a way that we can think, that we can consider how to make good decisions? Because when we're anxious, we don't make good decisions, whether it's parenting, whether it's at work, whether it's on a football pitch. Okay? So I'd like to just say something for you today. If you're feeling anxious about some of the things I've said, here's a little thing that you can do. We're going to do some belly breathing. So I'd like you to put your hand on your chest, one hand on your chest, one hand on your tummy. Sit up straight if you can. Right? And what you're going to do, breathe through your nose, and you're going to, with the bottom hand, make sure that your belly pops out. So it's belly breathing. Keep this hand still. So you're breathing deeper. Okay, so we'll do that 3 at a time. So in and out, in, out, in, and out. Good. Belly breathing gives us a deeper breath. It goes into the back of our brain here, and where the control center for breathing is, it calms us down. It reduces our adrenaline and cortisol, those hormones that get us ready for fight or flight. Brings us back. When we are in control, we can make better decisions. So it's a very simple trick. You can do that anytime. Say that to my kids. Say that to myself sometimes. Time to breathe. Breathe, calm down. Some people talk about flipping the lid. Louise, you might have, flipping the lid with some of the kids that you teach and whatever. When that happens, you're not making good decisions. So how can we do that? Well, it's a simple exercise like that. Bring the regulation down, and then it brings the heart rate down, it brings the breathing rate down, and everything else, you're back in control. And it's that control that can help with the anxiety. Burnout. Kay talked to me about burnout. She wanted me to discuss some of that. Now, burnout is like yawning. If one person starts yawning, what happens? Other people start yawning. Burnout is the same. It's been shown. If a group of people around this coffee machine here start talking about burnout, that corner over there will start talking about burnout. Then that corner will talk about burnout. It can just be like a contagion going right through a company. So what can we do to offset that? Well, we can try first to understand where that burnout comes from. And there are some people say 4s, some say 3. And so I'm going to say about the 3, it's easier. One is an overload burnout. I'm working hard. I'm working all the hours God sends. Why aren't you? That's what happens with overload burnout. I'm working hard. Why aren't you? My frustration is going up. My flip lid going up. My anxiety goes up. Everyone else's anxiety goes up. So burnout from an overload, which is the most common, which is more common in managers and parents potentially, that's what happens. We vent emotion on others. Can be very, very bad for a company. Then there's the under-challenge burnout, where we are bored. You're not getting the work that you need. People who are unemployed. They're sitting on the couch, potentially watching TV, and they're burnt out. They've just got no energy. They're feeling under-challenged. That challenge is not there. We do need a bit of stress in our life. If it's not there, what happens? People cope through avoidance. They're less likely to go to find employment because they're just burnt out and they're going to carry on staying there. So that's something else. If you're finding yourself in that process, it's a different way to deal with it than the overload burnout. And finally, there's the neglect burnout. So people, I'm doing some work, you dismissed it, didn't like it, well, I'm not going to bother now. And you go into a spiral of learned helplessness. I'm no good, therefore I'll do crap work. I'm no good, therefore I'll do even worse work. And it's that learned helplessness cycle that can happen. So depending on the type of burnout issues, will depend on how we can try and deal with these issues afterwards. Now there's a reason I've put this tomato up on here, because I'm going to use the tomato explanation later on, but one of the good things to overcome burnout is providing a good culture at work. A good culture, we all know what that means, or we think we know what it means. The root word of culture is cultus, and cultus is to care. So like cultivating a tomato, you're caring for the tomato. Just putting the seeds in, it won't grow. You have to cultivate, you have to look after it, day in, day out, water it and all the rest of it. So what we have to do is the same in a workplace. And I love to think of a good culture not as much of a noun as a verb. So it's not, we've got a certificate on the wall that says we've got good culture. We're doing a culturing process. So what are little things that you're doing on a daily basis to keep a good culture at home, to keep a good culture with your spouse, to keep a good culture at your workplace? What are the little things that you're doing? So what do? Well, I take my students out for bowling or take them to mini golf. I have a beach day with them. Or I remember their birthdays. So one of the first things I do, write their birthdays down on my Outlook, and I send them a message. It can be very powerful for them. I give them a smile in the morning when it's their birthday. Little things that we can do to help cultivate that good culture. Okay? And I'm looking at some of the business leaders in the room and maybe online. There are 3 different types of transactions that we take place at work, and it happens at home as well. One is 3 types of engagement. One is a transaction engagement. You work for me, I pay you money. Simple transaction. You pay for me, I give you my hours. That's it. Another type of engagement is expressive engagement. So I trust you. I've brought you into this company. I've brought you into this constellation, family, whatever, and I trust you. Therefore, I believe that you can take me from A to B or B to C or wherever. I give you agency. And the third part is about emotional engagement. Do you feel safe in the workplace that you're in? Do you feel belonging? If not, do you have to wear full PPE to go and talk to the boss? Because if that's the case, that's not a very good, harmonious environment. It's the sort of thing that leads to burnout. So what can you do? Well, if you concentrate on that transactional engagement, you'll get hours from your staff. If you concentrate on the expressive and the emotional engagement, you'll get blood, sweat, tears, and everything else in between from safe and empowered staff. It's very powerful, very, very powerful. That's what I try and enact in my research team. The reason for the tomato, by the way, is to create a good culture, you need intelligence and wisdom. You need intelligence and wisdom. Intelligence is knowing the tomato is a fruit. Why is it a fruit, Oscar? Because it has seeds inside. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. Okay? But you do need intelligence and wisdom to create a good culture. Okay? The other thing you need is a good harmonious spirit. You need people around you. As the civil rights leader Malcolm X said, when I is replaced with we, even illness becomes wellness. I love this quote. Even illness becomes wellness. Goes nicely with what sort of thing I'm trying to say, is promoting wellness to prevent illness. Okay, so how can we create a harmonious environment? When I've talked to Southern Cross and other companies in the past, what little things can you do to role model right from the top and put messages around to say this is what we believe in, to allow that we culture to happen? Okay? Now, there's the other thing about wellness is we need to make it fun. We need to make it appropriate, we need to keep it engaging, and we need to make it, you know, something that is sustainable, that is doable. Because that's all the marketing messages that we have for the ill health related issues, the sedentary behavior issues, they make it fun. People don't advertise alcohol, for example. They advertise comradeship, victory, a good time, fun, all of those things. That's what they advertise. They're the feelings they invoke. So what feelings can we invoke when it comes to wellness and well-being and prioritizing wellness over illness? I'd like to give you a little story about this guy. Retired guy, he just wants to watch TV. There's a whole bunch of kids outside, and they're making a hell of a racket. And the guy says, well, can you just go? I just want to just concentrate. I'm retired, I just want to watch some TV. And they come in more and more come, and he's getting a bit wound up. So he says, he comes up with a different strategy. He says to the kids, I've loved watching you and hearing you. I can't play, my knees are shot, I can't play anymore, but it's wonderful watching you play. Can you come back tomorrow? I'd like to reward you. I'm going to give you some money for playing. I'm going to give you $10 each for playing. And they go, okay, can we bring some friends? Of course, bring as many as you want. So true to his word, next day they came and played. Millions of kids outside. And afterwards, he's given them all $10. They think, this is fantastic, we love it. And then the kids go, can we come tomorrow? Of course you can, but I can only give you $5 tomorrow. That's okay. And they go, yeah, okay, no problem. So they come back next day, lots of them play, and he gives them $5 each. And they think, oh, this is amazing. We're having a great time, and we're getting some money. This is brilliant. Then he says to them, excuse me, kids, my pension money hasn't come in. I can only give you 10 cents each tomorrow. What do the kids do? It's not worth it. So they all head off. There's no kids after. He's changed the wellness and the intrinsic motivation into an externally focused aspect. Therefore, it changes the behavior. We have this all the time. We have this all the time around us. How can we change that? Well, we're in the library right now, so I thought I'd put this example up of Huckleberry Finn. Anyone read Huckleberry Finn? A few hands, yeah? Excellent book. If you haven't read it, please do. It's in the library here. Huck wanted to go swimming and fishing with his friends. His aunt says, no, you need to paint the fence. You need to paint the fence. He goes, oh, no, I want to go. They're all going fishing. So he goes, right, mates, my aunt has rewarded me. She's rewarded me. I get to paint the fence. Well, can we get rewarded too? Of course you can. Go and ask aunt. There's another paintbrush. They're all helping him now, doing the painting. They all get done. He's changed an externally focused activity into an internally focused thing. The fun is there, and they've helped make the fence. We can do the same. We can do all of these things within ourselves. Change that locus of motivation so that it means something. It's more sustainable. Okay? So how can we do that? Got my friend over here, Pete. We went to university together. Hello, Pete. We've done sports psychology and other stuff before. So how can we change that externally focused thing into an internally focused thing? How can we make it fun? What can we do to make things fun? Great for yourself as well as for others around you. The other aspect here is that the stages of change when we go through a wellness journey. When I first came to New Zealand, it was brilliant. I told my friends in the UK about it. Don't drink and drive, don't drink and fry, don't drink and this, don't do this. Well, this is really quite, speed kills, all these messaging that we see on the billboards, on the telly and all the rest of it. But those messages, unfortunately, they're probably hitting the people who are already doing those things. They're hitting the people who are already doing those things, okay? Wear your seatbelt. People who are already doing it, okay? Because they've not hit the right notes. And I said this to Southern Cross once, and I said, if you've got a message, you need to make sure you deliver the message in language that people at different stages of change understand. So this work came out of some psychologists in the US, Prochaska and DiClemente. Read them up, brilliant work. It was about cigarette smoking, and I'll give you the example. We have to go through all of these stages to make change. Because if we don't, we're not going to make the change. So cigarette smoking. If I'm in the pre-contemplation, I'm smoking, my dad lived to 100, I'm going to carry on smoking. Not bothered for me, okay? Pre-contemplation. Contemplation. I'm smoking, my dad lived to 100, maybe that last 20 years of his life, it wasn't a very good life. I'm still going to smoke. Preparation. I'm still smoking. Dad lived to 100, last 20 years wasn't that good. I want to be around for my kids. Maybe I should do something about it. Still smoking. Action. I'm smoking. Dad lived to 100, didn't look very, I want to be here for my kids. I should really do something about it. I'm going to go and talk to my GP. Okay? Trying to give up. Then it's the maintenance. I'm not smoking, well, I'm smoking less. I've got some patches, I've got some support, and I'm doing everything else. And then, unfortunately, relapse can happen as well. So the point I'm trying to say is, in many of the health promotion activities, unfortunately, we target people in the maintenance already. What we need to do is target these people, because every time we move things along, it's much better for us. So how can we send the message for not smoking, deliver it in 5 different ways, so these guys just to think about not smoking. These guys think about doing something about it. These guys actually do something. So how can we engender the language so that we can make people go along those stages? So success might not be actually to stop people smoking. It might be to get people along this change. Okay? Same for our wellness journeys. What can we do to try and get ourselves further along so that we can make the positive change? It can take time to do this, by the way, and sometimes in a 3-year budget, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in a 3-year cycle. That is a big problem for us, and the Health Collective of New Zealand that I'm part of, we're trying to do that. We're trying to go bipartisan. How can we go both red or blue or whatever colour? Can we work together for the benefit of Kiwis going forward? It's not just in the here and now. Sorry to get political. Another thing I'd like to talk about is you need to, when it comes to wellness, you need to make your own goals. You need to be smart in your goals. You need to make sure that it means something for you. We did a research project with, on telehealth during COVID times. And it was about reducing the blood pressure and heart rate of typically older people. And it was online during COVID, as I said. And we had a number of participants. And this one guy in particular, you know, there's no confidentiality issues because I'm just telling the story. I've got my lawyer over here, so I have to be mindful of what I say. So the thing here, he was like this, arms crossed. Imagine on the screen, arms crossed. I don't really want to be here. The wife tells me I need to, because I need to reduce my blood pressure. I don't really want to be here. I just have to do it. And we're like, okay, well, what do you like doing? Well, I don't want to exercise. I want to eat what I want, and I want to do this and I want to do that. Very fixed mindset. You know, I'm like this. And then a couple of sessions later, we finally figured out. He says, okay then, all right, if you're going to make me do this, I'd like to be able to walk up my steps without huffing and puffing. Walk up my steps at my house without huffing and puffing. But great. We've got something that's meaningful to that individual now. Can we do something about it? So we work towards that. A few weeks later, he's there like that on the screen. I've done it. Well, what have you done? I've done it. I can walk up the steps without huffing and puffing. What would you like me to do next? What would you like me to do next? So to get that engagement, to help with that stages of change, to get that, takes that meaningful. So what is meaningful to you? You might not like exercise, but you want to play with your grandkids. So play with your grandkids. Don't even use the word exercise. How can you play with your grandkids? Okay? Reformat in ways that mean something to you. I'm going to ask a question, and I don't know how it's going to go. How many people like paying tax? How many people like paying tax? Oh, put your hand up if I don't mind. I think it's worthwhile, you know? Yeah, it's good. What about a community membership subscription? Who'd like to pay that? A community membership subscription. Yeah, a few more people. It's the same thing. We're part of a community, it's called New Zealand. Subscription, we have to pay something. Membership, you're part of the group. Language is very powerful in this sense. So how can we create something that means something to us? Because then we'll have what we call SMART goals. Specific to you, measurable, attainable, relevant with a time target. Can we create some SMART goals for you so that you can work towards that in small, sustainable changes? SMART goals, stage of change, achievement, motivation. 3 massive concepts I've just tried to bring in very quickly here. when it comes to wellness journey. Other things, sometimes emotional trauma can impact on this. Got my son here, this is Oscar. Big smiley face for me, and I've got a big smile, I've been told, big smile. Big smile. The worst part of my life. The worst time of my life here. A big smile on my face, okay? Going through hell, all sorts of hell, and going through depression, going through anxiety, lost about 10 kilos overnight, sleeping an hour a night, etc. Big issues at the time for me. So I was actually at a friend's batch up in the Kaipara, and his wife said to me, "Ad, you need to find a champion." I went, "What do you mean, find a champion?" "We need to find a champion so you can see in colour again. You need to find a champion to help with your kids. You need to find a champion so you can live your life again." So I thought, okay, where can I find that? Well, I reached out to my colleagues at the college, College of Health, with the psychologists, with the sleep therapists, with the dietitians, and so on. And one of my colleagues, a dietitian, she says, "Aj, you're not very well." I went, "No, I'm not very well. So let's go for a walking meeting," which is brilliant. Love the advice. She got the trainers, we went for a walking meeting. And she says, "I know you want the best for your kids." And I went, "Yeah, of course I do. And I know you're probably going to do too much." So she said, "This is what I'd like you to do. Cut up some fruit and veg, cut up some carrots and broccoli and tomato, whatever, and give it to your kids, play games with them, or give it while they're watching telly, and then you can prepare other stuff." And I went, "Yeah, we'll see." So I did it, first time, both my kids, gave it to them. And there were broccoli and carrots, whatever, flying everywhere. "No, that's not what we get at Mum's." And I went, "Okay, thick head, I'll try it again." The next day, clean plates. So right now, I still do it, whether we're playing games or whether waiting for dinner, whatever. It's a good way to get nutrition into kids. When they're hungry, they will eat. So give them fiber, give them food, things that they want, they might not necessarily want, but they eat before you do other things with them. So a really useful piece of advice. I was the chair of the ethics committee at the university, and my student health and counselling manager, she says, "Ad, you're not very well." I went, "No, I'm not very well." And she says, "You need to try mindfulness." I went, "That's a bit woohoo. I'm not sure about that." The best training I've ever done at Massey. The best training, the mindfulness training that I did. Phenomenal. It helped me find balance. It helped me unload some of the anxieties, some of those things that I mentioned earlier before. And I went through the associate professor and the professor ranks. Going through hell, I got the top 2 promotions at work. I became a better dad to my kids. I became a better human. So I sort of said to myself, we always need these sort of these champions to help us on our life journey. And that resonated a lot with me. And so what do I do on a daily basis? I do my exercise. I did my stuff this morning. Oscar sometimes helps me. I practice my random acts of kindness. Don't blow my horn or anything anymore. Let people through. Pick up bits of litter on the beach. It makes you feel wonderful. Helps with those happy hormones to calm down the stress hormones and so on. Mindfulness meditation I've just mentioned. 3 gratitudes. I wrote my 3 gratitudes down in my journal this morning. I do my breathing activities, different types of breathing activities. I have a cold shower in the morning. I do my dots and my dats. Dots and dats. Do one thing for yourself today. Dat, do another thing. Dots and dats. Okay? Write them down. Because if we write down what I'm grateful for, I'm grateful to go to his football soon. I'm grateful for a sunny day. I'm grateful for going to the Auckland FC game later on. So I'm looking forward to doing things, not worried about what I can't do. Because if I'm here, I'm grounded, it helps me start the day. So all these things helps with my superpowers. So I can eat well, I can move well, I can sleep well, I can think well. As a result of that work, plus my experiences, plus the work I'm doing with Southern Cross and other companies, I set up a business. Set up Imago Wellness Coaching. Now Imago is the last stage that a caterpillar goes through before it becomes a butterfly. So what we want is to take people who are doing okay, but who can flourish. Told you about that earlier, languishing to flourishing. What can we do to help people flourish? And we have a team of coaches around the world who are sleep therapists, who are dietitians, who are exercise scientists, who are psychologists and counselors and so on, who are online, available 24/7. We do online platforms, short sessions, and we look at making small changes and, as I saw in that video earlier, finding out what the problems are and then tackling those problems, rather than having a big sledgehammer try and do everything all at once. It's not that approach. It's finding out what your challenges are and working with you as a guide on the side. So our coaching, if you have a phone, my business cards are outside, by the way, or you can click on here, go on Imago Wellness, you can see the sort of thing that we do. So we have a range of coaches that can help tackle the problem so that people can flourish. And that problem might be, well, I'm not sleeping very well. Right? Mary here, for example, I'm not sleeping very well, so she sees someone and they go, well, you're not sleeping very, you need to sleep early. I'm like, I haven't really tackled my problem. Why she's not sleeping could be because her partner's not sleeping either, because you're having a discussion around why you're not sleeping and you're having challenges with that, and you're eating later as a result of that, you're not doing your activities. Why are you doing that? Because you're having challenges at the dinner table with your kid who's a fussy eating child. So the reason you're not sleeping well is because you have a fussy eating child. Our dietitians will be able to help with the fussy eating child to help the problem downstream so that you can sleep better. We take a problem-based approach towards your wellness, towards your health. And we act as the guide on the side to help you. So increase in wellness increases employees' level of engagement at work. Oscar, can you do the grapes now, please? Yeah. So my son, my little helper, Oscar, is going to pass out some stuff for you. Just take a grape, hold it in your hand, please, while you're doing that, and I'll carry on talking. Yeah, Oscar, just can you take the whole? Yeah, take some more. Let him do that. Carry on. So just grab one, hold it in your hand. Don't put it in your mouth. Hold it in your hand. Okay, hold it in your hand. Get another one if you can. We're just going to have some fun and games as we go through. So. Increase in wellness increases employees' level of engagement at work. One of my missions, working with Southern Cross, working with my economics professors and statisticians and others, is to show that. I had a really good chat to Jonathan Coleman, who, when he was over here in the surgery, the Minister of Health, and he said, Aj, what you need to do is join the dots. You need to join the dots. You need to show that this makes a difference with that, which makes a difference to that. Then at the government level, we'll pay interest. I'm doing that with the Healthy Active Learning. I want to go on that journey with the wellness coaching venture that I'm doing. And I had a really good chat with Southern Cross again yesterday. Watch this space, hopefully, for more developments on that front. So, I like running. Who likes running here? Anyone? I like running. Oscar, you like running? Good stuff, yeah? So I like running. And I say to people, it's really hard when it comes to your wellness journey to change one thing by 100%. What's easier is you can find 100 things that you can change by 1%. So it's the 1%ers. What are the 1%ers that we can find? So I'm running along, I'm thinking, great, I love this idea of the 1%. I'd love people to join me on the running, join me on this 1% club. Oh, it's got a nice ring to it. 1% club, got a nice ring to it. So I went home, had some dinner, went to bed, and I couldn't stop thinking. Lots of stuff going through my head. I do a lot of research on beetroot juice. And beetroot juice is for the heart. It's to reduce blood pressure. If you take beetroot juice, great. If you don't, start if you have blood pressure related challenges. We've got another product that we've developed. Hopefully we're going to try and commercialize that based on the work that I've done. Anyway, beetroot juice is for the heart. And then I went, well, yeah, for wellness, we have to do a bit of digging. You have to do a bit of hard work. What do we dig with? We dig with a spade. Clubs, carts, spades. I'm like, okay. And as the Roman poet Virgil said, health is wealth. Cool. Diamonds, they're pretty precious, aren't they? They're quite wealthy things. And I've gone, you can see where I'm going on with that. And I talked to one of my colleagues previously, and she was heavily pregnant. And she said to me, I talked to my midwife about, I couldn't quite sleep. And do you know what she did? I went, no. She gave me that many emails about sleeping through pregnancies, that many leaflets about sleeping through pregnancies. Every time she called me, how are you doing? How are you doing sleeping-wise? And so she said to me, do you know what I did? I went, no, what'd you do? I did none of it. I was overwhelmed with information, so I did none of it. So she was in a worse spot than before she asked the question. So all of these things went through my head, and so I came up with a 1% club. 1% club is some cards. I've developed these cards so you can eat well, move well, sleep well, think well. Okay? Like this one that it says here, a cup of beetroot juice a day keeps the cardiologist at bay. I came up with that. It's a bit cheesy, but I thought it was quite cool. It's 12 or 13 years worth of research gone into that statement. Okay? But if you want more information, there's the QR code for it, and it'll take you to the site. So while you're playing cards with your partner or with your kids, whatever, you can do that. This is great. This is great. I've given it out to lots of people. I've given it to Oscar to take to Cowley Park School, and I've given it to my business mentor. Every time I do a conference, I give some of these cards out. And people have been really engaged with this, really engaged. The Freemasons are interested in what we're doing here. I've talked to people in Singapore, in Hong Kong, in the UK, in Australia. I sit on the Sport Victoria advisory board for some of the work that they do. They said this is great. So as a result of that, I'm also developing other sorts of cards as well for menopause, for kids, for football, for cycling and other things like that. But giving information in an easy to digest way. So we're going to try some of those today. Oscar, have you given some stuff to everyone? First one, you've got a grape in your hand. Can you start handing out the other stuff in a second after this? You've got a grape in your hand. Look at it. Look at the grape, please. What do you see? Have a look. Have a look at it. Get it close to you. What do you see? Feel it. Touch it. You know, put it next to your ear. Smell it. What does a grape smell like? Have you ever thought about what a grape smells like? Okay. I'll speed this process up. Put it in your mouth. Don't chew it. Put it in your mouth. Don't chew it. Roll it around your tongue. What does it make you want to do? Yeah, don't do it yet though, Louise. What's going on? Salivation is coming on. Okay, your brain is telling you, oh, it's in your mouth. Get rid of it. You want it's not. Now slowly, I'd like you to bite into it. Think about what happens. How does it feel? What type of taste does it come out with? What's the texture? Did you hear the crunch of the grape? Okay. Now slowly, you can start eating, swallowing. We eat mindlessly. In the modern world, we eat mindlessly. When we eat mindfully, the research tells us you get satiety quicker. You'll feel better for eating. Now, you can't do that every time, but what I would recommend you guys do, and you've got nearly lunchtime, is when you cut up a bit of food, put it in your mouth, put your knife and fork down, close your eyes, and think about those things. What flavors can you taste? I asked Oscar when he had a couple of grapes earlier. What did you say, Oscar? Excellent. Talk to your kids about that. Get them to describe how they feel. Because if you can do that, they get the full value of what what the food is like. It will help with food control. Okay. Next one. Move well. What I'd like you to do, you're sitting down, is put your hands on your chest. If you put your bag down, please. Hands on your chest like this, and just stand up. Stand up. Okay, and sit down again. Great. Now, for some of our research, we use that sit to stand test. In 30 seconds, we're not going to do it, how many times can you get up and down? It's a validated test around the world. For someone who's above 60, what do you reckon you should be able to do? 60. For someone who's above 60. Have a guess. 10. 10? Good guess. Anything else? About 12 for women, about 14 for men. If you cannot, then that's an indication that your muscle strength isn't great. So it's a very simple test that you can do. Okay? So other things that we can do exercise snacks. 1 minute blocks of activity spread throughout the day, 6, 7, 8 times, regularly, has shown to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease massively. So basically, sometimes I'll do that, go walk up and down my steps at work, just to do that, just to get some energy back into me. So moving well does not have to mean going to the gym. We can take bite-sized chunks of activity throughout the day to stay well, that moving well part, okay? Sleep well. Oh, I went too far. Please, I'd like you to get your phones out. I'd like you all to get your phones out. Oh, mine's over there somewhere. Thank you. Yeah. Phones out, quickly. I'm doing good for time. Yeah. Phones out. Have a look. Find a picture of a loved one. Find a picture of a loved one. It could be a pet, it could be a spouse, it could be your kids, it could be your parents. Have a look. Share it with the person next to you if you would like. How do you feel? How do you feel? What's happening straight away? I'm hearing it, I'm seeing it, you're smiling. You're releasing one of the 4 happy hormones. It's called oxytocin. It's called also the love hormone. The love hormone is the one that comes up in droves when we give someone a cuddle. or mum and baby, you know, or your pet, first thing as you walk through the door, your dog looks at you and you feel that massive surge of oxytocin. It's a counter to adrenaline and cortisol and everything else. So here's a little tip. Here's a little 1% tip of if you're feeling a bit down, look at a picture of a loved one. Phototherapy, it's called. Very powerful stuff, very simple to do. And if you want, share with others. When I get messages, you know, 1 year ago today from Google Photos, something happens, I share it with my kids or my parents or whoever else. Do that. It can help with that oxytocin release both ways. It can help with that connection. It helps with our wellness, one little bit at a time. Finally, Oscar, pass this around, please. Finally, Oscar's going to hand round a little, just pass a few, Oscar, and let them pass it. Yeah, thank you. There's a few. Just grab one and pass it down, please. Pass it down to the back. All right. So, as I said, we're in the library, aren't we? If you've got kids and you want a good book to read, Silly Billy is one of the best books. Oscar, one of your favorite books? One of his favorite books. Okay, Silly Billy. So, oh, I do need one, Oscar. Oscar. So, here's, all right, Oscar, we've got something. You can make one too. There you go. All right. So, Silly Billy, brilliant book. Someone said it to me, and I went, what the hell's this Silly Billy all about? I read the book, phenomenal. My kids struggling to sleep, and we've all seen that. Awful for us as parents when kids struggle to sleep. So, read this book, and basically, in a nutshell, we have worry dolls. Worry dolls. Tell your worry to the doll, put it under your bed, under your pillow, sleep like a king or a queen. Does it work, Oscar? It works a treat. Works. There's one I've tried earlier, you know, and so we're going to make one. We're going to make one. Very simple. There's your pipe cleaner here. Bend it like that. Bend it like that. So at the top, you're going to just twist to make a head. Twist to make a head. Can you see that? You've twisted it to make a head, like that. Okay. And then maybe get an inch or so at the top, fold it back on itself, we're creating an arm, over the shoulder, and we've got a leg. Okay? I'll show that again, an inch, just fold it, like that, over the shoulder, and we've got another leg. That's it. It can be as simple as that. We can decorate it with other things and whatever, but there's a worry doll. Make a little leg. We'll see what you look like, you know. Louise, you can try this at your after school care, you know. Yeah, so anyway, there's a worry doll. It's as simple as that. Tell your worry to the doll, I'm scared of the dark, I'm scared of boogeyman underneath. Put that under the pillow, sleep like a queen or a prince, okay? Once I was, and we were blown away because he's here now, I was having some anxious issues and so on. And Oscar, little Oscar here, made one of these for me. He says, Dad, you're a bit worried. Maybe you should tell the worry to the doll here. It was phenomenal, absolute phenomenal. So, anyway, little tips. Now, I've given you a few tips. Does anyone have any 1% tips to share that they'd like to share? Eat well, move well, sleep well, think well. Any tips anyone would like to share? Sorry? Yep. Can you be more specific on that? Okay. All right, thank you. So that's an eating well tip. Anyone else? Eating well? Sorry? Staying hydrated. What does that look like? What tip can you provide on that? Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the tips in here. Yeah, about staying hydrated. Keep a drink bottle with you wherever you are. When you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated. When you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated. So how can you avoid that? And you don't even realize what the challenges are until you are. Okay? So stay well to prevent the illness. Any others? Excellent. What do you do, Louise?
I do 6 breaths of breathe in, hold it, breathe in one more, and then out through the nose. I do 6 of those, and then I do 6 box breaths.
Excellent.
And that helps me sleep.
Brilliant. Brilliant. That's great. Everyone heard that? Box breathing. You can have a deck of cards for that. These are available for sale, by the way, if anyone wants them. Any other tips for eating well, moving well, for example? Any tips? Yeah? Yeah, amazing. Absolutely amazing. That's always going to be a tip. It's an old one, but it's a good one. Yep. Yep, okay, because we actually do more walking in using public transport than walking by car. And so think of that. In rural, more green space, you do less walking than in urban spaces. Cool. Any others? So, get more sunlight. How do we do that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one of the challenges for people of my skin color from Asia and India and so on, when they come here, we know about the ozone layer issues and so on. People cover up. It leads to reduced sunlight, and it can lead to osteoporotic type bones. We've done some of that research at the university. So yes, I'll thank you, Oscar. There you go. Thank you. And I've got one more tip that, yes, you'd like to share with us? Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay, well that does help, yes, but what we're really after is a simple tip that we can do. Simple tip. Yes? Give that to that man. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Brilliant. So what we can do, and I practice that myself, is that. So you can squeeze muscles, relax. Squeeze muscles, relax. And you get down to one squeeze afterwards. Some techniques there that we can do, part of the 1% club. So thank you, everyone. We're running out of time. So all I want to finish off by saying is, as I say to the kids as well, is we will fail. You will fail. I will fail. Everyone fail. You fail thousands of times before you could walk. Failure is not a bad. I try and tell my students, because I want them to fail in my presence so they can succeed in my absence. I want my son to fail in my presence when it comes to climbing so he can succeed when I'm not there. Okay? So failure, don't be afraid of failure. Fail stands for first attempt in learning. First attempt in learning. Don't be afraid to fail, because then you can win. Win, I'm going to say this to his team in a few minutes. Win is work hard or work well, inspire each other. I do know how to spell enjoy. So if you work hard, inspire each other, enjoy it, you will win whatever happens. All right. Thank you, everyone. So I just want to say, make the time for your wellness, as otherwise you'll be forced to take time for your illness. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. And I've got some cards at the front there if you do want to contact with me. And I've left some of these things if anyone feels I could give some value to their company or companies that they have. I'll be very grateful for your contacts. Thank you.